Hey guys, Coach Gaglione here. Today I want to go over the glute ham raise. This is one I prefer from the Elite ITS, and then we also have the Rogue one as well. Benefit of the Rogue one is a little bit easier to adjust, but I prefer this one. This one actually has got a little history to it. This is from Zach Evanesh's gym, Underground Strength Gym in Edison, New Jersey, so this has got a little history to it, so I will never get rid of this one. Close to my heart. So anyways, thanks to Zach for that. So I prefer this one a little bit better. This cushion, this pad's a little bit squishier. So I'm going to show you kind of how to adjust it, what exercises. There's a lot we can do with it. There's a lot we will do here at Gaglione Strength. I want to just kind of go over the main functions of it first. It's primarily going to be used for your posterior chains, your glutes and hamstrings, low back, as well as your abdominal muscles as well. And we'll kind of go over some do's and don'ts and some best practices with this. But anything you can do on this machine, in this bench, you can also do on this bench as well. They're kind of interchangeable. The only difference is that, again, the adjustments are a little bit different. This one you can kind of pull and push with this little pin here. This is a twisting knob like this. So where it's set right now is actually would be a good kind of option for me just for some abdominal work. I want to try to minimize momentum. So I can kind of play with either a bent leg or a straight leg position. If I want to kind of take my hip flexors out of it, you kind of play with how much pressure you kind of put into here. So I like to hook my feet in and start with this arms at the sides. That's going to be the least amount of resistance. If I cross my arms, a little bit more. If I bring my arms toward my head, a little bit more. So it's a lot more challenging than it thinks, and I don't have perfect form. I haven't been doing a ton of spinal flexion myself, so again, I'm trying to bring my rib cage toward my pelvis. So I'll do one more, try to do a little better technique with the harder variation. Boom. So I don't really prefer to do like more of what you may see in like a CrossFit gym where you kind of go all the way down. A lot of people get some overextension pain there, so not to say you can't do it, but this is kind of how we prefer to start people off when doing the kind of spinal flexion on the glute ham bench. Another thing that you can do if you have a band is you can do a band crunch as well if that's too challenging, or if maybe you're a bigger guy. So I can loop the band here and do some standing spinal. And the benefit here is I can get a little bit more range of motion, pre-stretch my abs, and then crunch here. So I know this is something that like Matt Wenning is a big proponent of. Like he might hook it up like this, or from so I like to do, if I'm going to do any type of abdominal crunches with the band, I really like this setup. I can go nice. Notice I'm not really using a lot of momentum here. And if I use a heavier band, or I could bring the foot plate further back to get more of a stretch on the band and make it more challenging. So that's how I like to do abdominal work on the glute ham raise. There's other stuff you could do if you want to do like just a static movement where I'm holding that plank. I can just go here and hold isometric contraction. I can also come here if you want to work your obliques a little bit. And again, I can do a little short crunches here, but again, we don't have a lot of lateral flexion of the spine, so again, I like to do more of an isometric contraction. So it's kind of like a side plank variation. And obviously we'll do that on both sides. And the benefit here is I'm also kind of working my inner thigh, almost like a little bit of a Copenhagen feel as well. So you get that benefit as well. I want to add resistance. I like to maybe add a medicine ball. So that's just a back extension, and we like to focus on the hips doing the moving. You can also work spinal extension as well. Again, I like to use this erectors more as a stabilizer, and the hips as a driver when doing these movements. As far as where you should set up, I have this pretty further back, so I'm about 5'8", and for me to get a good setup here, my knees are way back, and I just have a little bit of clearance for my hip, not too much. So that's a good setup and distance for me. You're gonna have to play with it for yourself. For the actual glute ham raise exercise, you can play with For me, 3 or 4 hole showing. Most people make the mistake of actually bringing the pad too close. So when you're starting out, give yourself a little bit of room. So I like just, for someone that's like 5'8", I'll start them off with 4 holes showing. And what we're looking for here is that the knee should be slightly below the pad. You don't want the knee actually on the pad. That's a common mistake. So for here, this would be an easier version. You can see basically the middle or bottom of my quad is in contact with the pad, but my knees are not in contact with the pad. That would be a less challenging version. And for me, if I go to 3 holes showing, you'll see my knees still have clearance, but now it's a little bit more challenging. The knees still have clearance, but it's just only the lower part of my quad is in contact with the pad, not the middle part. So that's as far as I would go for someone my height personally. I don't want my knees in contact with the pad. So when you're first learning the movement, I do a reverse band setup. It's just going to take some of your body weight away. And I like to go back extension first into a leg curl. So hip extension, extend the hip. So this is going to assist me. So I can come all the way down, pause, so I'm squeezing my glutes, curling with my hamstrings. So it's calf and glutes. I'm driving into the toe plate. And I don't want to come up so high, I lose tension. I'm going to stop right here, so hamstrings are still in tension. As I get more comfortable, I can take the back extension away and just come out to 90. So I'm going to stay with my hips extended and focus on curling the hamstrings. And I'm trying to get out my ribs down with a neutral spine. And as I get better, I can take the band away. And notice I'm trying to not overextend the back. And if I want to add a back extension in, and break it up into parts like that. I can start to add load, I can start to add a band, and resistance. So
cool.
That's how you do a glute ham raise. Those are the primary functions of working the abdominals, working the posterior chain. The benefit of the glute ham raise is you work both functions of the hamstring, which is hip extension and knee flexion. It's a fantastic exercise for strength, athletic ability. If you guys want to learn more, check out the links below. Please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, stay strong.